Welcome back to What Do You Use For? This is the whole series on what our family uses for different grades and different subjects. There's a whole playlist. I'll link it below and in the cards here as well. But make sure that you check out those other videos. Now, like I said, this is what our family uses. So I'll just put the disclaimer out there real quick that if you see something in here that would work for your family, fantastic. But please do not feel like you need to recreate our day or our curriculum choices or whatever. Choose what your kiddo needs. Now, especially with grade levels, I mentioned this is first grade today, but grades are kind of subjective, especially when it comes to curriculum. And so if you're looking for books and you see first grade, remember that this could be for a 5-year-old or this could be for a 7 or 8-year-old. And so there is a wide range of kiddos who will fit in this grade. But I just want to put that out there that you need to take a look at where your kiddo is and figure out what they might need most at this time. Some things might work well and other things will take a little bit of time to get used to. But first grade is really cool because this is one of those years where you just see massive growth. At least in my experience, that's been the case. They start out the year possibly reading a little bit, but maybe not reading much at all. And they might be frustrated by some of the curriculum that you're going to use. I know that's the case for our language arts curriculum, which I'll share about later. But it's one of those things where as things progress throughout the year, I have seen kids grow and be so impressed with themselves. Give them the chance to be impressed with themselves, please, in order to kind of say, wow, look at what I can do. So just remember that we need to see the process. This is a whole growth process, and it's really cool to walk through that with them. So I am excited because we're going to take a look at curriculum today, activities that our kiddos do, and kind of our family flow, like our routine, as well as chores and little things that they do during the day. You know, nothing special, but it is special because our days are special, you know. So let's go ahead and get started. So our kiddos start the day with oatmeal. As I've shared in other videos, I'll put that in here if you'd like to use that. It just saves us money and it's a good filling breakfast. All right, I actually do that the day before because it's just easier to put those in the fridge. And as I am an online teacher, I work in the mornings. My kiddos are getting themselves breakfast, so they know how to get those out of the fridge, pop them in the microwave for a few seconds, and go ahead and get started. They'll sit down with their math books, which have also been left out. For math, we use Horizons from Alpha and Omega Publishing. We've liked these books for years. They're pretty affordable. They're around $40 to $50 for the whole year. Sometimes we've reused them. We've just erased what the previous kiddo did in that level, and other years we've bought new ones. So just depends, but that is Horizons for math. This is a spiraled math curriculum. So it's one of those that touches on a topic in a basic way, then goes on to something else, and comes back to that first topic in a more complex way. I like that. It gets us closer to mastery and keeps the frustration at a minimum because it shows that they're mastering these little steps on their way to mastering the complete skill. All right, after math, then we usually move on. At that time, I'm usually downstairs with them after having finished my work. So we're moving into language arts. We use the Good and the Beautiful for language arts. We've used it for, gosh, nearly 8 years now. Gosh, 7 or 8 years. And so we actually have the very old version of this first grade curriculum. Now, I love the new The Good and the Beautiful. I also really like the old because it feels a little bit more rigorous, perhaps. There's a lot of kind of memorization, poetry memorization, some art projects, some geography, there's spelling included. So something to look into. We really like it. We have continued to use it as my oldest daughter progresses into 7th grade next year. We've already bought the 7th and 8th grade packages. So that's just a vote of confidence in my book. As they're also kind of working through their morning work. You know, we do have 4 kids and my husband and I both work from home, but we kind of tag team. So as I'm working with one of the kiddos on language arts, they're also kind of moving through handwriting. Our other kids are doing cursive when they're older, not our first graders, but they are working on piano. We love Hoffman Academy. They have a great premium program. It is pricey, but for us, it was a really good investment for a year. We were able to kind of get kids through the games. There are workbooks that you can print, and it goes along with the free YouTube video. So if you're not willing to invest in that premium curriculum, the basic just YouTube channel, Hoffman Academy YouTube channel is a fantastic one. Our kids know the playlist link that we have in our browser bar and bookmark bar, and they can hop into the level that they need to be in and play for about 10 to 15 minutes. There are little puppets and stuff in there, so it's fun. Keeps them excited about playing piano. We want to keep them enjoying it, not as a forced thing. After that, we also have ukulele. This is just something that my kids kind of picked up on their own and have started finding videos on YouTube with certain teachers that they like, and also just certain songs that they want to learn. Jason Mraz, I'm Yours, and they're just sitting there playing, figuring out the chords, stuff like that. So kind of fun to see them pick that up. First grade is a good time to start on this because their hands and fingers are working a little bit more with a little bit more precision, we could say, that fine motor skill kind of coming in there. And so it might be frustrating for your kiddo, but maybe later in first grade, they might be a little bit more willing to try and perhaps fail a little bit, but that's a good thing. So ukulele, piano, very fun things to bring into your first grade year. There also, our first grader is working on silent reading. So this is the point where, as they begin to read, they're going to need different supports than just, hey, go read for 30 minutes, like we might do with the older kiddos. Here's what we might do. Might be reading with an adult. Alternate pages or paragraphs with an adult or an older sibling. Another great tool is Epic. I've mentioned this before. We have created our homeschool on there, and so we can use the school version. So during school hours, kids can hop on there and read. There are audiobooks as well in Epic, which is great. We love Freckle. Freckle is one of those online platforms. Again, they can practice math facts, which they do, and other kind of areas, but I really like their reading library. They get to do kind of like accelerated reader type quizzes after reading a book. It's a good support. Reading A to Z as well is a great option if you have access to it. But possibly our favorite is Libby. This is connected to a public library card. So if you have access to a public library card, you're welcome to link that, and then you can get audiobooks. You can get printed books. First graders would love the option to pop those earbuds in, listen to the audiobook, and here's the gold standard. If you can get them with the physical book in their hands or on the screen, if you need it to be a digital form of the book, and then the audiobook in their ears, that's really cool because then they're hearing how the word is pronounced. Does that make sense? So they're hearing those reading strategies put into work, growing that vocabulary, hearing inflection in reading, really, really important. Things that we can do as parents as well and should be doing, but it's not always possible. We can't read to them all day long, right? So whenever possible, read to them, but also use these tools. They're out there. All right, so we are using lots of reading. In first grade, we're also starting to do a little bit of reflective writing. This could be one sentence after reading. What did they write about? What did they read about? Excuse me. So one sentence, because they're in first grade. I don't know if that was our rationale with them, and it's worked out pretty well. We are also a bilingual family, so our kiddos write each day in English and Spanish. So I'll either give them a prompt or they can choose what they want to write about. Maybe something exciting happened in their life and they want to write about it. So we went to the park. Great. And then they're going to write the sentence in Spanish just below it in their notebook. So just one of those things that helps us continue to teach Spanish and English grammar, show the differences, because that critical thinking piece of saying, oh, why does this word go before in English or after in Spanish, things like that, it's helpful and it's not threatening. It's not a big book or another subject that we need to reach, but it is something that is quick and easy and something I can do with them very, very easily in just a notebook. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just simple. Then let's remember that these are 5, 6, 7 year olds. They need to play. So by this time, usually school is only taking like an hour and a half. Okay. They need to go outside and play. They need to go have some time with their Legos. They need to go draw with chalk. They need to go do something. Get them outside, give them breaks in between. A lot of times our first grader will, grab a picnic blanket from the cabinet and go do his or her work outside. This is just one of those freedom and choice things where they're going to build up these affinities to certain subjects, and we want that to be something exciting for them, something that they'll look forward to. And if you can make it fun in a comfortable atmosphere, if they can go outside or go in a hammock to read, let them choose whenever possible. After kind of that morning playtime, it's usually time for a lunch. So we'll call everybody in. I have usually been cooking lunch, or one of my older daughters who enjoy cooking will help cook lunch during the morning. And then the kids will come down. We'll read from one of these devotionals. Louis Giglio has some great ones. They tie into science, which is really fun. So a lot of times we'll have those, I wonder, hey, what does that mean? Hey, can we learn more about this? This is where our science comes from, usually just kind of one of those I wonder questions. A lot of times I'll bring in Nearpod or vocabulary to these topics as well later on another day, so that they can then discover more about what they're curious about. Those are free tools that you can create an account for and give to your kiddos. They know how to manage the links. So we use a Google Doc for each kid to have their links in there. Again, this is all in a bookmark bar on Google Chrome, and they are able to access those things easily once we've taught them and be able to dive in. So we'll have lunch. They will help clean up. Now, please remember that your first grader is absolutely capable of chores, of helping out around the house. This looks like perhaps rinsing their plate and putting it in the dishwasher, perhaps having a turn sweeping after lunch, putting away laundry, right? Sorting laundry. Whose socks are these? Whose pants are these, right? They can do that. They're good at that. And then delivering them to the person's room. That's another great task. Those big tasks of, figuring out, can I carry this whole pile, or do I need to break it into two? That sort of thing. So give them the chance and the privilege of contributing to your family economy by doing some chores as well. For our family, usually this still means that our first grader is taking a nap after lunch, or at least some rest time. So they'll head to their room with books and either, climb under the covers and fall asleep because they're so tired, or read for a little bit, fall asleep, or just not sleep and just read the whole time. That's totally fine too. Because then we'll head to French class later. For our family, we raise them bilingually, but they start French when they can read. So again, this is one of the things that you're going to need to take a look at during the year. Once your kiddo is starting to read fluently in English or another language, we then add in French. Okay, and we take French on Preply. I'll leave a link below. You can get a discount on your first lesson, 70% off, which is actually pretty good. But we have taken French on Preply for 4 years now. And we have had multiple teachers just for different reasons. Somebody had a baby and moved on. Somebody else got a new job and moved on. And we have a great teacher now who meets with the 3 older kids at that time. Our youngest is not quite ready yet. But as they meet with her for 30 minutes, she's working through reading, writing, listening, and speaking in French. Very affordable and something that you can choose from on your own. It's kind of like a marketplace. After that, they go to karate. So most afternoons during the week, we have a karate class, maybe a sports class, some other sport, just getting kids moving, getting them around other kids. Now, this is Monday to Thursday. Friday is kind of a special day. On Fun Friday, we almost always meet up with other kids, other homeschool families, other friends who happen to be off of school, and go on some adventures. Maybe we'll go to a park, a library, somebody else's house. So it's one of those things where that is absolutely a part of education that we want them to experience, build those friendships, see how other families work, and get outside and play. And they're always really excited to do that and often make requests. Hey, can we go hang out with this family? Hey, can we go do this? So it's very fun to see them kind of develop a love for doing that. After that, after karate, we'll come back home. They'll have dinner. We'll help clean up again. And then it'll be time for music and chores before bed. So our kiddos know to read a proverb a day. If you're not familiar in the Bible, the book of Proverbs has 31 chapters. Pretty convenient for one each day of the month. So whatever day it is, if it's the 24th, then they'll read Proverbs 24. And a lot of times we have bilingual Bibles, so they'll just read it in one, but a lot of times it's Spanish because they'll have read English earlier in the day. So a great way to get some more reading in. And then they'll do another round of piano and ukulele or guitar, as one of our kids is starting to pick up. And then stretch. We'll pray as a family and then go to bed. So this is one of those things that it's our routine. This will look different for every family, but just so you know, this is what it looks like. I know it would have been really helpful for me to have seen something like this when we were just starting out with homeschool. So I would love to hear, what do your days look like with your first grader, or what questions do you have about first grade? You can leave those in the comments. I am so glad that you are here. If you are hearing this, I know maybe no one's told you yet today, but thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's really important. And happy teaching.